Hi, I'm Doug Keck. This is an EWTN bookmark brief. Just had the great pleasure of speaking with my good friend, Father Robert Spitzer, about the new book, Father Spitzer's Universe, Exploring Life's Big Questions. So tell us, Father, how did this book come about, and why is it important in your mind?
We wanted to take a variety of different answers in a different group of several different categories and try to put together some of the best answers to some of the most fundamental questions that people have in a single volume, and try to put it in everyday language rather than the usual Spitzerian needless complexities. So the book came about to look at like proofs for the existence of God, or look at Jesus Christ and what's the evidence for him, and what's the evidence for life after death, and what's the evidence that our life after death will include a heavenly kingdom, or is there evidence of a hell? We talked about how do you differentiate the glorified body from our spiritual bodies, and then we started getting into all the questions that concern the fall, and what does that mean, and the problem of evil and the problem of suffering. And we tried to take into consideration the real presence of Christ in the Eucharist, the question of transubstantiation, of course, what was Jesus' intention at the Last Supper? How can we know that his intention really was to give us his real presence, aside from the fact that universal testimony of the church for 2,000 years? And then, of course, we went into go into moral questions, really important moral questions concerned with abortion, physician-assisted suicide, and moral criteria, to base our judgments on, et cetera. So it does cover a wide variety of topics, and our intention was to do that, kind of in a tone that was, easy to understand, yet sophisticated enough to justify this to a secular audience.
This kind of book and the show itself kind of focuses on a lot to do with science, and younger people especially, I know, has been dear to your heart in the sense of reaching them, with them coming to a faith and reason understanding. It's interesting that we're seeing a rise of young men actually outpacing young women's interest in religion. Do you think it has anything to do with that kind of science and reason that you're talking about?
Well, I do, because I see right now the so many of the scientists, for example, have moved over to theism. Just a few years ago, maybe only 45% of scientists declared themselves to be believers in God or a higher transcendent power. Today, 51% declare themselves to be believers in God. Only 20% are 21% are agnostic, 20% are atheists, 8% are undeclared. But the young scientists, look at that, and a lot of them are young men.
Right.
There's 66% declaring themselves to be believers in God or a higher transcendent power. Only 15% are agnostic, and 15% are atheists, with 4% undeclared. So the same thing with physicians. So clearly science is moving in this direction. Of course, there's many good women scientists and many good men scientists, but men in their initial decision making will generally not make a decision based on feeling or emotion or intuition. They will base their decision generally on some form of logic or evidence. Now, that's just a preference.
Right.
There are a lot of women who will start with logic and science and evidence, but in general, there is a preference. As I said, my mom, she never understood why I was always looking for evidence and doing things. She says, look, just hold on to a baby and you'll know, miracle, God exists. Absolutely. And I would be holding on to the baby going, Mom, this isn't working for me. Well, and so, essentially, more of the intuitive type, but, I was more on the other side of the equation. But I think that's going on. The scientific evidence today is overwhelming, and a lot of good young scientists are recognizing it. Right. And a lot of them happen to be men.
And you're helping them to learn their faith and hold on to it. Thank you so much, Father Spitzer, for putting this book together and joining us here on this bookmark brief. And of course, this is Father Spitzer's Universe, Exploring Life's Big Questions, proudly published by EWTN, proudly available through EWTN's religious catalog. Look for the entire interview coming soon of course, on our on-demand platform and also on our YouTube channel and on the network as well. I'm Doug Keck. This has been a Bookmark Brief. Thanks for stopping by. We shall see you next time.